KTM Adventure has dropped their engine capacity. This means that there should be lower torque available. The effort required to upshift on this bike is actually very low, to a point where it was very surprising for me. Suspensions have become a little too stiff for me. You see how I have to put in a lot of effort to actuate the front suspension. If you're in the market looking for an adventure today, and if your salary is, let's say, 80,000 to 1 lakh rupees, and you can spare up to 15 to 20,000 rupees for the EMI of a bike, in which case you have two strong contenders. One is the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. The other is, of course, the KTM Adventure 390. Now, KTM Adventure has dropped their engine capacity from 390 to 350cc in order to give you the GST advantage. This reduces the overall cost of the bike by about 60,000. Today, as part of this video, we will explore all aspects of this engine, and we will suggest whether to go ahead with the 350cc or to get the 398cc instead. Let's talk about the engine, specifically on how KTM has reduced the cc from 398 to 350. How they have achieved this is basically by reducing the stroke. They have kept the bore the same, but the stroke has reduced. This means that there should be lower torque available, and that is very clearly evident from the specs. However, one thing to notice, on the Duke, this difference is very clearly perceivable, but on the Adventure, there is good low-end torque that is available. There is a compromise in spec. However, this should not be a bottleneck in the city. In terms of drivability, this Adventure bike has good low-end torque on offer. This is a bike which has a smaller stroke, but a wider bore, which means it is a free revving engine which loves to rev. There is a need to upshift every now and then. The quickshifter on this bike operates in a way where you can easily upshift even though you are holding throttle. Now, there is great refinement on this, and in my opinion, one of the best things that they've done on this bike. Now, if we have to look at the gearbox, the effort required to upshift on this bike is actually very low, to a point where it was very surprising for me. And let's look at the clutch feel. The clutch feel is actually smooth. It is not as smooth as the Duke. For some reason, this feels slightly heavier, but this is still one of the best clutches that you can get. And in traffic, I don't think it should be a problem. Overall, the ratios, the drivetrain, the quickshifter is very cleanly done. In order to understand the acceleration times on this and to check how much power the vehicle is putting down, what we'll do is we'll add a data logger. We will measure how much acceleration time this bike has and what is the kind of power and torque it is putting down in different gears. Before we move on to the next section, I'd like to share something with you. 98% of our viewers have not subscribed to our channel. If you're getting any value out of this channel, and if you're one of them, please take a moment to subscribe. It will cost you nothing, but it will keep us motivated to bring the best automotive content in front of you. Now, on with the video. In terms of the acceleration test on the Adventure 390, I couldn't get a clean run in, but I ended up getting one run in which I did a 0 to 100 of about 9.96 seconds. Between the 350 and the 390, most reviewers says the difference is about 0.3 to 0.5 seconds. If that is the case, then it should not be perceivable. In my opinion, I think they are closely packed, but there is a clear difference in terms of the 350 versus the 390. The excellent engine and the gearbox on this bike is supported very well with the brakes. Not only can this bike accelerate well, it can also decelerate well, and this is supported by Brembo brakes. You have this large rotor here, and this is not a radially mounted caliper, this is an axially mounted caliper. This axially mounted caliper moves in and out of the axis of the plate. Now, this is to ensure that when the bike and the brakes get very hot or there is wear that happens, the caliper can adjust itself to ensure that the braking experience is consistent. The front brake also offers good feedback, And if you look at the effort on this bike, the bite is progressive. It's not very sharp. It is done in a way where it offers good braking, but the braking also comes in a way where it does not scare you. And unlike most adventures which will start diving when you brake, this does not dive so much. I think the combination of the suspension stiffness and the brakes offer it predictable braking, but the suspensions have become a little too stiff for me, and we'll talk about that in detail in a bit. Moving on to the rear brakes are actually coupled well with the engine braking. Now, the engine braking itself is sufficient to decelerate the bike to a predictable extent, but the rear brakes gives better control. And if you look at the pedal itself, there is good serration on the pedal to ensure that you have good grip. And overall, I am very happy with the brakes. Nothing to complain. Design is something that KTM has done very well with the Adventure. Be it the way the design flows, the way the line flows, or the way in which they've split the colors. If you look at it, although it is a large bike, it does not seem big. They've broken down the volume with the color such that it makes it feel approachable and small. The big design is clean. If you look at closely the headlight, look at this. This seems very nice. This, in a way, reminds me of their Dakar bike. And if you look at it from the rear, see how beautiful this is. The rear sharply thins out, making it feel like there is very little volume on the rear. And the extension of this subframe, where it goes longer, if you just look at this view, it seems like it is straight up from a dirt bike. If you look at the cockpit, this looks very premium. Take a look at the switchgear and the switchgear quality here. This is excellent. Now, the feedback from each of these buttons, like for example, this cruise control button, is actually very good. Now, KTM has done a phenomenal job in improving the quality of components, and this shows up. And for the amount of money you give, the premium feel that you're getting here is top notch. Let's check out the tech that is on offer on the display here. You have ride modes, info, cruise. In settings, you have your favorites, quick selections, custom switches available. You can trigger custom functions with this custom switch. Connectivity, shift light, clock, units, language, and there are extra functions. Let's look at what extra functions are available. There is audio turn by turn, quick shifter. Let's look at the quick shifter once. Moving back, in ride mode, you have street, you have off-road, you have rain. We'll stick to street. In terms of configuring street, you can have your ABS mode, your traction control, quick shifter, display mode. Quite a few things that you can control. Let's look at what info is available. You have your trip, fuel range, coolant temperature, the battery voltage, odometer, clock, service due, and warnings. If you look at the way they've highlighted specific areas of the bike, the animations is like really good. This is very good attention to detail. Let's talk about the ergonomics of this bike, starting with the obvious question, whether it is accessible for shorter riders like myself. I'm somebody who is 5'6", and as you can see, there is good amount of reach I have. They've ensured that they've given good reach by making the seat more narrow. Now, with this, there is a slight compromise, which is the seat has become slightly stiffer, and for longer rides, you would have preferred a bit more cushioning. In terms of the rider triangle, which is my hedge point, the foot position, and the handlebar, it is a very comfortable posture. Now, you can spend longer hours on the saddle because of the ergonomics here, and for city, it is also very comfortable. So in terms of switchgear access, there are a couple of things to note. Now, the switchgear quality is very premium, but the positions of the horn, the cruise control switch, the cruise control ka high and low buttons are in a way where you will need some time to get used to it. Now, apart from that, this is a great bike on offer, and the price that you pay for this is totally worth it. If you have to talk about the handling of this bike, there are some interesting aspects. This bike is a high CG vehicle, but if you see, the handlebar is separated from the headlight. Now, because of this, the handlebar feels lighter and there is better control when you're cornering or when you have to pick up the bike. In terms of the weight feel, although this bike weighs north of 180 kilos, it doesn't feel like it. For shorter riders like myself, this does not seem like a problem. However, the side stand, the way it opens and closes, you will need some time to get used to it. And parking it in some tight spots might be difficult. In terms of cornering, this bike offers predictable roll. For example, you can roll into a corner very easily, and rolling out is also very predictable. And you can use the throttle to actually control the way you roll into and roll out of corners. The tires have done a better job compared to Duke. The Duke feels very roly-poly. This does not feel like that. This feels as though there is great control, and the bike offers good straight line stability as well. The suspensions on this vehicle felt slightly stiff. Let me show you. You see how I have to put in a lot of effort to actuate the front suspension. The same goes for the rear as well. Now, the suspensions, both front and rear, are seemingly set up for the city. Unlike the other adventures that you would see where the suspensions dive very easily, be it the Triumph Scrambler or be it the Himalayan 450, this is a slightly stiffer setup compared to both. The seat is very stiff, and the texture on the seat is also of a nature where you have good grip that is available on the seat. But for longer rides, I would have preferred a bit more cushioning. Hennis Garage was started with an intent to help racers go faster around the racetrack. We want to use the expertise that we've built there to help you buy better products. If you're in the market looking for a motorcycle or a car, and if you need any help with it, you can reach out to us on WhatsApp. The link is in the description. Let's check out the quality of components. At an ex-showroom price of 2.8 lakhs and an on-road price of anywhere between 3.3 to 3.5 lakhs, the KTM Adventure 390 is great value for money. The tech on offer, the capability of the platform definitely justifies the cost. You will get a mileage of around 22 to 26 kmpl within the city and between 28 to 32 kmpl on the highway. Of course, all of this depends on how you ride. I think for the money you pay and the running cost, this is definitely a good bike that you can go for. Here are 5 things we love about this motorcycle. Number 1, the tech pack at 2.8 lakhs is definitely unmatched. The cornering ABS, the quickshifter, the TFT display definitely justifies the cost. The handling is very good. It can do both highway ride and city commutes. The gyroscopic inertia is capable of giving you the stability that the bike requires. Number 3, the bi-directional quickshifter. The quickshifter on this bike is definitely one of the best I've experienced. Number 4, this bike, although it looks tall, it is something that a 5'5" or a 5'6" person can also handle. Number 5, at a cost of 60,000 rupees lower than the previous 390, KTM has managed to not remove anything that is more useful. Here are 5 things we hate about this motorcycle. Number 1, The seat is a bit too stiff. It might be slightly irritating for shorter commutes, but if you're spending really long time on the saddle, harder seat generally turn out to be better seats. Number two, not just the seat, the suspensions are also a bit too stiff. It can take slight jumps, but it is not a plush vehicle. Number three, the engine needs a bit of revs to stay comfortable. And if you're riding this in the city, you'll see that you'll end up shifting the gears a lot more than you would expect. Number four, the pillion accommodation is poor. And if this is a single bike garage, then there is a bit of discomfort that your spouse or your family will have to go through. Number five, running a high compression ratio engine, you will see that the bike will heat up and you can feel hot air that is blown onto your right shin, and this is something that you'll have to accept. So who should buy this bike? This bike is for anyone who is between 5'6" to about 6 feet and who wants a great adventure bike which can do 70% highway and about 30% city, need good tech pack. Those are the kind of people who can opt for this bike. Who should not buy this bike? This bike is not for people who would spend a lot more time in the city than on highways. If you're expecting good low-end torque or lesser number of gear shifts in the city speeds, this is not a bike for you. Thanks for watching this until the very end. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, ride safe and Godspeed. Let's try out something interesting. We'll measure the frequency response of the engine, which will show us which parts of the engine are contributing to the majority of the noise.